Welcome to our second installment of fiberglass repair. Today we have some pretty big statues that have gotten some cracks in them. So we're gonna mend the back, get them solid in a good solid position, and then put some bondo epoxy on the fronts, fill it in, sand it, finish it off. What you're gonna need for these larger statues for fiberglass repair is, okay, first, I have a gallon because I do a lot of this, but bondo, fiberglass, body filler. This is the same stuff you use for working on cars. So you can get this at Pep Boys and Napa and all those places. This is a Napa product. This is the first thing we'll be using, which is fiberglass resin with hardener. This is a liquid that you'll add some hardener to and cut pieces of fiberglass cloth that are available from the same place and put them on the back to hold it in position. It'll dry very hard and very solid. You also need some tape, either duct tape or regular, to hold it in position. You'll need some scissors. Last time we used some super glue to glue parts together. That's not enough for this project. These larger statues, or any larger statues that you might have, probably need this fiberglass instead of just this. So it's nice to have around just in case. Then also we're going to spread it with a fiberglass or a resin or a rubber spatula to spread. I like to save money, and I'm sure you do too. That's why you're watching this. Just a good piece of cardboard can spread and mix everything around and do just the trick, and then you can just throw it right away. So let's get this project started. Okay, as you can see, these are Easter Island statues that we sell. They're a little hollow on the inside, and sometimes the truckers bounce them and bang them around. What I'm going to do is, I've taken our fiberglass sheets out, and I'm going to fit it to the back and just roughly cut it to size, about 4 to 5 inches on each side extra. And then I'm going to soak that with the fiberglass resin and hardener, and then tap it into place. You'll see as I do that. But before that, I'm going to want to take the piece that broke off and tape it into position with some duct tape or some regular tape, just so I know how to position and how to lay on the inside correctly. Okay, we've got a chunk of it in position. I'm taping just the front because the back is where our fiberglass sheet and resin are going to be. And this will make sure that that doesn't move around a lot while I'm putting that in place. Yes, there are little cracks, but we'll fill those in with bondo. Okay, that's in position. We're going to go around. I'll show you from the other side how we put in the fiberglass resin sheets. Okay, it's fiberglass resin time. We open up. This is the top of the fiberglass resin can. I'll pour in enough of this goopy liquid to completely submerge my 2 pieces of cloth that I'm going to soak and then put on the inside of the statue. And then we put in the hardener, and now it's time to mix it up. Now this will dry relatively quickly. Not as quickly as your bondo did if you've ever done any bondo work or auto body type work. That dries in about a minute. This takes about anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. But if you don't put the hardener in, it'll never dry. It'll just stay liquid. Put your hardener in, mix it up, and then we're looking to submerge our pieces of cloth in this completely. So we're going to fold up our cloth and soak it as best we can. And when this is all soaked, we take the pieces out and just stick them onto the back of where our cracks are, and then we'll wait for it to dry. Okay, you can see it's a little bit sticky of a process, but again, it's just pieces of cloth that you can adhere directly to the back of your crack. That's one piece, and I'm going to lay in the other. One more piece in the corner, and I think this crack will be ready for the drying process. After drying, we can work from the outside because the back will now be totally supported. The It's a little wet, so as it gets tacky, you'll want to push it in and keep pushing it into position so that it stays nice and tight. If you feel it drying a little bit too much and you need a little more liquid, go back to your tray. But remember, in that tray that you dip this in, it's probably drying just as quickly as this is. Okay, now we'll let that sit for a while and we'll come back to it in a couple of minutes. Okay, we've got the whole inside here, all of the cracks and everything lined with the fiberglass and the cloth, and it's looking pretty good. It'll take about 20 to 30 minutes to dry, so you don't need to do much. The manufacturer on this can recommends that you use acetone to clean up. I personally, this takes a little bit more rubbing, but I use a denatured alcohol. I find that denatured alcohol kind of does the job. It isn't perfect, it won't get all of it, but I get most of it. Okay guys, now it's time to take off our tape. Our fiberglass mesh sheeting on the inside has dried to almost a hard, tacky finish. What I'll do is I'm going to take a razor knife, cut the edge here with a razor knife, and then peel off all this, and we'll see how we did. Okay, as you can see now, it still looks pretty rough on the outside here, but what we're really trying to accomplish with the inside fiberglass is to give it a support system. So you're not just kind of like putting glue on the edge and having no support behind it. Those fiberglass sheets will do quite a good job. If you can see, I can actually shake this piece now and it's not even moving. We're going to take some bondo, which is car filler or wood filler, I'll show you how to mix that up, and just fill in all of these cracks and holes. And then we'll sand them off, kind of give them a textured look, which was here before. And then the trick is matching up the paint to make it look like the original, but it's still much better than having to throw away a wonderful piece like this. This is an Easter Island reproduction of an Easter Island piece of stone. This can be done with 6-foot life-size statues that you might have had around for quite a while. They just need touch-up, some paint, and a good finish. Just takes a little bit of time, and you can turn a piece that's relatively worthless into something that's quite valuable. Now we're going to mix up some bondo. This is your bondo. This comes in a gallon, different sizes. Almost all the time when you open up your can, inside is your hardener. It's usually a different color. This one's red. And figuring just an estimate of how much I need. That's probably way too much there, but that's okay. It's not very expensive in comparison to the value of what I'm fixing. That. Now we put a little dab of hardener in there. You read your instructions. That's probably a lot of hardener for that, but it'll just make it harden a little quicker. As you can see, I've applied the bondo and it's hardened real good. I kind of wiped it down a little bit. If it's a fine finish that you need, then you're going to need to sand it smooth and do everything that you need to do to get it nice and even, and then spray on the paint that's appropriate to finish. In this case, this is kind of it's a rough stone finish, and I have a wonderful pre-stone finish can of paint. You can get these at any hardware store. Just try to get the paints that match. If they don't match, just get a couple of different colors. I'm going to spray it on and you can see how it looks. It really does a nice job. It's a little brown, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to put a little bit more red in and spray it on again and try to match the color, and I think it'll come up real nice.